presentation.
Hi. What am I supposed to speak about? Whatever. Very good. Creativity is an urge that tickles us. And tickling is such a nice expression. It's such a nice feeling. So creativity is an urge that makes you feel and smell the intangible. You see, I am a photographer. I take photographs of daily life. I'll say everydayness of life. रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी है, सबको जीना पड़ता है. Nobody can escape that. And within those feelings and journeys of mundane, everyday affairs, yet the ability to have that kind of sensitivity that tickles you, that makes you nudge, that gives you a nudge. Hey, I'm sure, all of you, going anywhere, anytime, suddenly you see something and you say, oh, that feeling is the urge. That is creativity that tickles you and says, hi, look at me. And sometimes you just exchange looks of warmth and fullness. Nothing has been spoken, nothing has been asked, and you feel fulfilled. So such is the magic and glory of His grace. Who is that? I don't even know. I have been close to many great people like Mother Teresa. We have our own Guruji. And Satguru and His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. And the magic energy that they carry, the aura that they have. And I want to get into them like a little baby. That is, again, another kind of urge. So these are very precious and very, very blessed moments when you are awake all over again. And something has woken you up into new awareness. Now, daily life, taking photographs of reality has so much of chaos. And within that chaos, the relevant and the irrelevant, they separate in moments of revelation. And they separate to merge again. And I'm the one who's looking for that gap. I means any creative explorer is the guy who's looking for that gap to get in and grab it. You see, people say art is about beauty, which is a very strange statement, because if Himalayas are beautiful, they are beautiful. And if you take a picture in the evening light, when the sun is setting and there are warm orangish clouds on the Everest, and you take a picture and you come back and show it to the world and look at the picture. That's not your part of the beauty that you experienced. This is just a physical aspect of the beauty. Now, even in those circumstances, you need that tickle, you need that nudge that comes in a fraction of a second and disappear. Oh, they're showing photographs. Can we begin from the beginning? Because I won't have much to say. Please. So those nudges, those moments, like these two old men in Old Delhi crossing each other. Now this is one of my very early photographs. And please wait till I finish talking about each photograph. Thank you. One of my very early photographs when I had a simple camera with a standard lens, and me like a explorer looking at things. I see sparrows. I focus my camera standing like that. I say, yeah, interesting, but not enough for me. So I need the tickle. And then suddenly the blackbird, the myna lands there. And the sparrows, they leave the space for the big bird. And there is a very gentle sound of the feathers. And they leave the space. This myna picks up a grain and just disappears. And I managed to take just one photograph. How does that happen? Especially young people, okay? You know, I design my photographs. How do I design? I connect with him and I tell him, listen, I alone can't do it. And that's why I say, when I saw the sparrows, I said, nice, but yet not nice enough for me. So he sends the bird, I take a picture, the bird goes away. This is how the story begins. Not because I'm so and so and he sends the bird. Because I make myself available mentally, physically, and spiritually. And that moment of connectivity, the whole canvas is mine, and I am a small part of it. And the beat that life has, and the beat that my heart beats, they merge together to make the magic happen. Let's see the next one, please. This is again with a standard lens, and early years of my first year of my photography. I took this photograph in Chavri Bazaar, looking at all kinds of traffic crisscrossing each other. My brother S. Paul, I used to stay with him, who's been a photographer for almost 65 years. So I take this picture because, again, it's that urge that made me do it. So I process my film and I show it to my brother. And he said, oh, Raghu, this is a very good picture. I said, really? Today, I can narrate all these details and come to the point. But while I was taking it, as 24, 25 years aged, I won't say young man or old man, that we'll talk about the ages later. So, but again, with his grace, my instinct, my creative urge was working. And I clicked it because I thought, it's strange, it's nice, wow. And then he says, oh, it's a very good picture. So we sent it to the Times London, they printed it half page. It went to other exhibitions. Wherever it went, people thought, what a great image. But it took me several years to understand the value of it. Because at that moment, I did it instinctively, with that creative urge. Next, please. The purpose of photography. Well, these days, every cell phone has a camera. Everybody's taking pictures, and you take family, friends, you photograph them in any situation, and you say, oh, such a nice picture, so let's buy a DSLR. Everybody's bought a camera. Everybody's become a photographer. Very good, why not? So you put your digital camera on autofocus, auto exposure, and auto color balance. A flawlessly well-exposed photograph appears today. And in those years, even giving the right kind of exposure was something absolutely of great importance. But at the same time, the processing of the film, color or black and white, could ruin your work. Underexposed, underdeveloped, overexposed, anything could happen. And today it's flawlessly easy and wonderful. Now, the purpose of photography, for me, is to capture the time we live in. History has been written, and it can be rewritten. But a photo history, this is almost 50 years ago, behind Humayun's tomb, this is how it used to be. Wheat fields, wheat threshing is going on. And today, the landscape has changed completely, and in a very devastating manner. So this, I can say, is the photo history of that part of Delhi which does not exist the same way anymore. So the purpose of photography is to capture the time we live in. That is going to be the photo history of tomorrow. Many young photographers are experimenting because digital technology, Photoshop gives you so many possibilities. Possibilities are fine, but possibilities which are not born out of your personal nudge and need can be trivial and frivolous. So that's where young people have to understand this part of any creative expression. Next, please. This is one single frame, and I don't manipulate situations. I was sitting in a car on the front seat waiting for a friend, and I always carry my camera with me. And I'm sitting and waiting with the camera in my hand, and I'm getting bored. He's taking his own time. And then, you know, this is the cock and the crow. They are being reflected in the back view mirror. So I just raised my head to see, because I thought maybe, you know, he's gone just in that office, you know, that I could see him. Instead, I see this cock and crow. So I focus my camera on the cock and crow and give enough depth of field. It is like sometimes, you know, you are physically sitting here, but your mind is traveling somewhere else. And if you merge those two physical realities, could be something like this. So when you are at it, and you are not going to stop it, nature is going to do something for you. The next one, please. I saw this husband and wife, the wife pushing the cart from behind. I was fascinated, and I followed the husband and wife and kept taking pictures after pictures. But just the husband and wife and their cart and the boxes was not enough for me, but I didn't know what else to get with it. So I kept chasing them for almost 15-20 minutes till we reached this block of buildings, and then I clicked the frame, and that was the last 36th frame of my film, and I could shoot no more. But then I had that sensation, I think it has worked. So when I processed the film, the boxes, the blocks, they create a kind of structure and form that works together. And may I say that when I met the great Satyajit Ray, first time in, I think, in 78 or so, or 80, I don't remember. We shook hands, and the first thing he told me, he says, Raghu, I can't forget this picture. It's ingrained in my head. So I said, wow, big guy, you made my day. So this kind of acknowledgements, they help a lot, not only in early years, even today. Next one, please. I depend a lot on the magic of nature and alignments coming together. So this is on Hooghly front. I see these statues, abundant statues, and the tree, and the cow standing where you can just see the head was quite intriguing for me. So again, I stand there, I say, not enough for me. Then I see this lady walking this way. So I took a couple of pictures when she was walking, and then suddenly she saw me, and she stopped to see what the hell I was doing. She stops, she turns back, and connects with the situation. Next, please. This is Girdhari Lal being photographed for identification. This is another purpose of photography. And this is in Chandni Chowk, where they used to have these kind of old cameras and the backdrops, which was another unique kind of expression. Next one, please. Two old men. In 75, Mrs. Gandhi declared emergency, so we didn't, me being a photojournalist, I didn't have many things to be happening for us to be photographing, especially politically. So I found a wall that was connecting. Ji? Yeah. Because later I have to sing for you guys. I thought I was already singing. That was my heart singing for you guys, if you haven't realized. So, either? Acha, that's easy. So can I sit down? Because standing up and being informal is not the kind of guy that I am. So, from Daryaganj, there is a wall going up to Jama Masjid. And that wall had different textures, different finishes, colors, and different graffiti and messages and artworks. I used to find it very fascinating. I said, thank you, Indira Gandhi. Now we can't shoot any political situation. I'll go and sit in front of this wall, sometimes at this point, sometimes at other point. So I was photographing the wall. And here are two old men from different levels of society, but their stick is almost common. And the forms of these door and the black patch and the poster which says, no problem about marriages, life is going to get better, there is this available, there is that available. Of course, you can't read Urdu, even I can't, but somebody translated it for me. The next one, please. Either you capture a mystery or you reveal a mystery. Everything else is information. And Government of India has enough offices for information and broadcasting. So here at the edge of the Marine Drive, first of all, I must say that I love clouds. I love monsoons, and I love dark clouds because they intensify my inner feeling when they go churning in the space. There are few foreigner friends also, but I have to say it in Hindi, please, if you don't mind. If I have to describe who I am, this is how I'll go in Hindi. मैं उस मॉनसून के काले बादलों की, वो काले बादल जो लपकते लचकते तूफानों में, प्री मॉनसून शावर में, वो तूफानी बादल जो लचकते जा रहे हैं, मैं उनकी वो पहली बूंद हूँ जो कहती है मैं तो चली, मुझसे रहा नहीं जाता। That's what I am. अब देखिए ये जो इंटेंसिटी है ये क्या है। मेरे बड़े भाई साहब ने मुझे, जब मैं उनके सामने काफ़ी छोटा था और उनकी तरफ ऐसे देखता था, उनकी बातें सुनता था, तो उन्होंने मुझे एक शेर सुनाया, रगों में दौड़ते फिरने के हम नहीं कायल, रगों में दौड़ते फिरने के हम नहीं कायल, जो आंख ही से न टपके वो फिर लहू क्या है। I am not bound by the fact, I am not enamored by the fact that blood runs through my veins unless it drips from here. So, you know, different people at different times, they inject, they transmit some magical powers and expressions into you. And if you are available and you catch them, they empower you with another kind of possibility. So I was standing at the edge of Marine Drive and the dark clouds churning up in the sky. And this is almost edge and the water is almost touching. And then I don't know what happened, they turned this way and that way as if they've lost something. And that expanse of water and those churning clouds and these guys this way and that way creates a mystery for me. Next, please. In 60s and 70s, we used to have rallies and demonstrations on Rajpath itself. And these are the babus from the neighboring government offices who will turn up to listen to Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, who was a great orator with great sense of humor and drama. So here are these babus sitting there and the perspective going and merging with the leaves and goes up. So these are little fascinating stories of my experience. Next one, please. Again, I was waiting for a friend, and it started pouring. And the bullock cart and the people waiting at the bus stop, and you can see the intensity of the rain in the kikar tree. And again, I very quickly took 2 pictures without realizing that my exposure was not correct, so it was overexposed. And thanks to that mistake, overexposed exposure, when I printed the picture, every drop of rain you could see. Next, please. So, in Rajasthan, in a small village, the rope going through the landscape and that pillar going up, that is another line, this is another line, and this guy spinning his whatever was standing there, and again I pick up my camera and I wait, and this child comes running and he hangs his head with the rope in such a beautiful action. Chaliye, next one. This is Ganapati Puja on Chowpatty, and again the clouds, the forms, and the Ganapati's hands, and people's expressions lost here and there. Next, please. This is a day before Babri Masjid was demolished. So the day before, on a wintry morning, early morning, misty morning, it was so beautiful everywhere. sadhus and monkeys and dogs and people and elephants installed on their platforms. They didn't bother anybody. In fact, they created such a magical moment for me. But the next day was horrible. So the title of this photograph, I always say, the day before Ayodhya happened. Next one. This is Imambara, Lucknow. If you look at the photograph, even the previous ones, they are sharp from here to infinity. Why? Because we say we capture the reality. And the reality is, the physical reality, the first reality is that we see everything in focus. Human eye sees everything in focus. And I don't believe that your lens, no matter what lens you use, should dominate the spirit of the photograph that you captured. So I went up because I saw these boys and I could feel that I can get a grand view of Imambara. So I sat on the edge and I took some pictures of these two guys, and then suddenly third guy comes and connects the whole space with the background and the foreground. Next, please. देखिए, कहते हैं ना, ये इश्क नहीं आसान, ये रोज़ का जीना है और रोज़ का मरना है. Photography, creativity is also रोज़ का जीना और रोज़ का मरना. जब आप मर के जिंदा होते हैं ना, तो again you are a little tender little boy all over again, because you've just been born again. So that is very precious. You see, this is Church Gate in Mumbai. One of my friends, Sebastian Salgado, did a beautiful picture of Church Gate station morning when thousands of commuters turn up. The strange part is that the trains come and thousands of commuters, they disappear like a human deluge within no time. Within no time means literally by the time you've realized it's empty again. So I stood there like a, I didn't know what to do with this. So I kept watching this experience disappearing. This human deluge was too much, So I put my camera on a box like here, and I gave a time exposure to create that deluge, human deluge. But luckily, in the morning, there are people sitting on the benches, reading their newspapers or waiting for somebody. So they are sharp and clear. And the deluge carries on. Chaliye. This is in Calcutta. Before Durga Puja in Kumartoli. So I tried to combine the outside, the inside, and the rest of it. Next, please. Okay, I'll be very quick. Chaliye ji, chaliye. You see, I was doing a book on Calcutta. Calcutta is a very fascinating city, and I have done my third book on Calcutta. So I went up the roof, and I saw this couple flirting away. And the city in the background, and I said, no, not enough for me. So the breeze comes, and her pallu goes flying, touching the man. I said, this is it. जब आप शरारती होते हैं तो नेचर भी आपके साथ खेलती है. So you are not alone, चलिए. The Dadu, Satyajit Ray, when he was shooting Gore Baire, and after one scene, when it got over, so he lied down on the same bed where his heroine was lying, and I thought I went to the other side, and I was leaving, and when I looked at the light and shade that their lighting and their set had created, looked amazing to me. So when you are dealing with a filmmaker, you use the same kind of expression and voice. So I said, Manikda, please look here. As they say, shooting, start, blah, blah, So I said, Manikda, look here. So he turned back. I said, thank you, Manikda. चलिए. I have done a book on great masters of Indian classical music because when I was young, I wanted to become a musician, and my father, who was from a middle class and Sarkari Afsar, and he said, no, you have to get a government job, no nonsense. So I had to obey him, and I did civil engineering and, of course, didn't get into my system. And then, when I joined the newspaper, then I had the privilege of going to these concerts. So I will go to every concert. But those were the years, man, when they were Ali Akbar Khan Sahab, Bismillah Khan Sahab, Pandit Ravi Shankar, all these big guys, which are no more. So, when I was doing a feature on him for India Today, he said, no, you must come to Varanasi because I have got a school there. I said, sure, Panditji, we'll come with you to Varanasi. So after days shooting and interaction, he says, now let's go to Ganga, to the Ghats to have a chai. So we sit down in the boat, we have chai, and then, we were sailing, and Pandit Ravi Shankar was the most flamboyant lover boy, a superhero of that time who appeared on the cover of every magazine of the world. So, we were sailing, and I took some pictures, and then the breeze comes. You see, these are the magic moments that are granted to me at times. And then his hair touched the ghats. And I move on to next one, please. This is at Hooghly, people doing exercises, other people bathing, and in fact, if you can see, I don't know, on this textured screen, there is that railway station at the back in the mist, but the feeling is very, ethereal here. Next. I was crossing the bridge in a car, and I saw this man diagonally empowering my frame with the dark clouds, and the dark clouds turn up as and when I need them. This time I won't call them because I know otherwise this festival will... Next one, please. ये देखिए dark clouds again. क्या बात है? Don't they enrich your sky? How big is your sky? Is the question. From here to infinity and beyond. I was doing my first book on Delhi, and one gentleman called Saeed Bhai, MLA, he was living in this area, and he said, I see you shooting here every day. What are you trying to do? I said, I'm trying to do a book. He says, come, I'll take you to a place, you won't believe the experience. So he takes me into a gully right on top of the ridge and to the house from where you can overlook the whole city. On one side you can see Jama Masjid and the old city, Red Fort on the right-hand side, and the back side you can see new skyscrapers coming up in Connaught Place. I was amazed, So I kept shooting like mad, and after 3-4 hours of shooting, when it was becoming dark, I said, man, I haven't got anything worthwhile. So when I was stepping on the stairs, which were open staircase, I see that lady praying, and the dark clouds had turned up to greet me. Now, all these clouds are meant for me. You know why? Because I have a longing, because I live with them. That's why they are mine. They could be yours as well. So this is the kind of madness and romance you have to have. Thank you. Next, please. What happened? अब देखिए, my mother has come. Now we have to be very careful. The last book I did on mother was 10 years ago. And the title of the book was The Saint Mother, though it took Vatican's another 10, 11 years to recognize her. And this is for the first time when I met her, when she was hardly known. That was in 1970. And she's stepping down from her upper floor. But see the way sunshine is touching her feet and the Christ right above her. The next one, please. Jaldi jaldi kariye, ye dekhiye. She was most compassionate, most loving, and the toughest of them all. Now this guy is pleading, and she's not even looking at her. She's busy with her rosary. So the guy, whatever said in Bangla, I couldn't follow. And I said, Mother, you didn't talk to him at all. She says, this guy, I give him 2 rupees, he'll go and buy some kind of liquor from somewhere and be lying here the next minute. So I have stopped giving him anything. In fact, I call his family and give them food. I said, how nice. Next one, please. Look at the mother, the way she's holding this baby. And her hands used to melt around the babies. And look at her expression. Next, please. First time when I met her was in 1970, and this picture is not exactly taken at that time, a few years later, but this relates to a story where Mother said, I was shooting her for 4 days, and she says, Raghu Rai, you don't come tomorrow. I said, why, Mother, what happened? She says, tomorrow is Easter Day, and when we are praying, I don't want anybody to be walking around and taking pictures. So I was absolutely shocked. I said, how can that happen? So I said, Mother, you told me 2 things. One is that doing seva, serving the poorest of the poor, was very precious act for you. She says, yes. I said, Mother, I have been photographing that for 4 days. And I said, the second thing you say, to rejuvenate yourself, you sit in prayers and you connect with the Lord. I said, I have never seen who that man is. But when you sit in prayers, he comes and lands in your eyes. So I have done half part of the story, Mother. So Mother looked at me, she says, okay, with one condition, that you will sit at one place and don't move around. I said, yes, Mother. Is that a promise? I said, yes, Mother. So come tomorrow at 6. I go there at 6. Mother sees me. She says, oh, come, let's go up. We go to the chapel. It was as big a hall as this one. So we walk in from one side. It's full of sisters and the priest there and the statue of Christ. So Mother sits down there and she says, you sit next to me. I said, yes, Mother. I sit down. So what I'm getting in my camera is just a little bit of Mother's profile and those sisters. So Mother goes into meditation, into this kind of expression, and my promise to stay static, I am breathless. I just don't know what to do. And I wait, and then finally I get up, I go right in front, I take my pictures very quietly, come back. Mother was so connected, she didn't notice that. Then the prayers get over, and the sisters are kissing the feet of the Christ and walking away. Now Mother gets up, which is about 20 feet away, the Christ, and Mother starts walking to kiss the feet of the Christ. And I said, for Christ's sake, can't miss it. So I very slowly, gradually, followed her. She did that, and she comes out from the other door. I come out from this door, and I stand in front of the Mother because I had to. I said, Mother, forgive me, I couldn't keep my promise. Now, the magic of Mother was that she will not look at you, she will look into you. कि माँ अंदर तक देख लेती है, सब झांक लेती है. So she looks into you. So I said, Mother, I'm sorry, I couldn't keep my promise. So she held my hands. She says, oh, God has given you this assignment. You must do it well. Thank you very much. I know it.